Everybody feeling fine. There ain't no business like show business, baby.
Show
It is showtime. We're
and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have a good time, each and every one.
How does it feel for you to be part of the Editors Guild and recognizing the director/writer/editor?
Well, obviously, everything that we do, in these films, we only can take it so far, and then obviously we leave everything up to the editor. And I think the reason that this film is so special, obviously, is because of the way that the director and the editor. So I feel like you kind of owe everything. When it's good, you owe everything to the editors. So that's why I'm here to basically say thank you, thank you, thank you.
What was it like actually working on the set of the film? I heard from other actors that you were able to vocalize your lines and
Absolutely. We even though it is a silent film, we actually did speak. They just didn't actually record any of the dialogue. So it was actually, it was like improvising a normal scene. And there just isn't the onus on the words. So in a sense, you really have to know that you're using your body a little bit more, and I think that's ultimately the difference.
Is that one of the suggestions that Mikhail gave all the actors initially when you were starting and preparing your casting?
Definitely. I mean, he was really urged us to be as similar as he would be in any other kind of a film with dialogue. Obviously, we had dialogue, they just didn't record it, so you want to be as true, obviously, as you can, as if you were doing a film that isn't a silent film. So I think that's why people fell in love with it. Ultimately, it was very, very true.
And what comes next for you?
Well, I'm working on a couple of different films right now. I'm working on a film called Kiss Me, and also am writing a film at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Which is fun. Kind of a raunchy female comedy. It's a good time. And then I've got a couple other, just doing the television pilot world. So got a couple of things.
Fingers crossed.
There. Yeah, exactly. It's a very funny time, this pilot season.
Well, thank you. What was it like stepping into Puss in Boots and wrapping your hands around the editing process of that animated film?
Right. Well, right from the beginning when I was working with Chris Miller, who directed the film, we wanted to do something completely different from the Shrek films because it's Puss in Boots and he has his own identity and his own charisma, and it's Antonio Banderas. So right away we wanted to set him in a completely different world, and even from an editing standpoint, we wanted to have a different kind of pacing to the film so that it just set it apart.
Sure.
From all the Shrek films.
Sure. What were some of the key elements that you were looking for in regards to the pacing? Was it the movement of the characters? Was it the dialogue?
Well, it's funny because Puss in Boots definitely has a unique kind of pace.
Right.
So he's swaggerish. He's debonair. He thinks maybe a little too highly of himself, and so those are moments where you really want to play him out on the screen and let them draw attention to themselves, and then boom, hit it with a joke.
Right.
Kind of idea where you throw them into these situations that are just ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as we looked at kind of older films, like some Clint Eastwood films, like the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Sergio Leone kind of films, because we also kind of wanted to represent maybe the old Western.
Right.
And since we were kind of throwing Puss back into that old kind of Western mentality, we looked at a lot of those films for pacing, stylized kind of filmmaking.
Did the 3D have any effect on your work as an editor?
I think so, because this is actually my second film that I've cut in 3D, and so I keep learning the process of where I think good 3D comes from being immersed in the scene.
Right.
So sometimes it's not about the joke of things coming out at you. It's more about feeling like you're actually there.
Right.
And so from an editing standpoint, you want to make sure you sit on shots maybe a little longer, and there's more depth to a shot, and you sit there and you take in the world, especially in animation. I mean, it's you can create any world you want in animation, and so 3D seems like a prime thing for animation, where you can actually create all these new worlds and just sit there a little bit longer. And that's what I do as an editor. Make sure you can actually feel like you're there.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to go back in and do a little bit of finessing after the entire 3D process is completed?
Yeah, sometimes we find that when we play it to an audience, maybe some scenes might play a little too long or some scenes play a little too fast. And sometimes we do go in and do a little bit of tweaking here and there. But I think the more that anyone does it and gets used to the idea of 3D in their film, you kind of already start spearheading those issues earlier.
Sure.
And not having to change as much on the back end.
And I have to ask you, do you have a favorite scene that you worked on?
I really love the dance scene between Puss and Kitty,
Right.
and plus because it was nice because we actually had brought in some dancers and shot some live action footage with them, so it was a chance for me to actually cut some live action reference of their dancing with the storyboards, with the layout, with the animation, and try to make it all mold and work with the animators to try to have this really like nice kinetic energy in the scene, and I think it actually came out really well.